Welcome to class, students. Today, we'll be looking at a very vital topic titled Stakeholders Capitalism versus Shareholder Primacy. Stakeholder Capitalism versus Shareholder Primacy. Who are the stakeholders? Every organization interacts with various stakeholders, each with distinct goals and priorities. While employees seek competent leadership, opportunity to contribute meaningfully, and recognition for their efforts, investors prioritize short-term profits and substantial returns on their investment. This divergence often creates inherent conflicts such as balancing fair employee compensation with maximizing investors' returns. The challenge lies in managing these competing interests effectively, which is the focus of today's discussion. Understanding stakeholders' conflict. Conflict amongst shareholders arise due to different interest priorities and perspectives. For example, financial backers may focus on short-term gains, while community shareholders might emphasize long-term environmental impact. Recognizing the root causes of these conflicts is essential for effective management. By understanding each stakeholder group's unique concern and motivation, project managers can address issues proactively and develop balanced solutions that align with broader goals. Strategies for managing conflicts among stakeholders, or for managing stakeholder conflicts. We have leveraging technology, effective communication, prioritizing interest, negotiating and compromise, building relationship, conflict resolution mechanisms, and monitoring engagement. Leveraging technology. Tools like land management software can provide transparency and facilitate collaboration by analyzing data related to stakeholder benefits, environmental impact and resource distribution. Instant updates and real-time communication also help resolve disputes effectively or efficiently, while keeping stakeholders engaged throughout the project lifecycle. Effective communication. Establishing regular communication channels ensures stakeholders' concerns are heard and addressed promptly. Clear and inclusive dialogue fosters mutual understanding, builds trust, and encourage collaborative problem solving. Prioritizing interests, weighing stakeholder concern based on their influence and alignment with project objective and potential consequence help project managers prioritize effectively. This approach minimizes disruption while maintaining progress. Negotiation and compromise is another strategy for managing stakeholder conflict. Finding mutually acceptable solutions through negotiation involve understanding stakeholder needs and exploring creative compromises that align with project goals. This process strengthens relationship and promotes cooperation. Building relationship. Establishing trust through proactive engagement reduces conflict and fosters collaboration. Recognizing stakeholder contribution and addressing concern early enhances relationship and facilitates smoother conflict resolution. We also have conflict resolution mechanisms. Formal processes such as mediation framework or escalation procedures ensure systematic handling of disputes. This mechanism provides clarity and fairness while keeping project objectives in focus. Monitoring engagement. Regularly reviewing stakeholder involvement helps identify potential issues clearly. Collecting feedback and adjusting strategies ensures effective conflict management while improving satisfaction amongst stakeholders. What is stakeholder capitalism? Stakeholder capitalism is a system where corporations aim to serve all their stakeholders' interests rather than focusing exclusively on shareholders. So let me repeat that again. Stakeholders capitalism is a system that corporation where corporation aims to serve all the stakeholder interests rather than focusing exclusively on shareholders. Key stakeholders include the customers, the suppliers, the employees, the shareholders, and local communities. This approach prioritizes creating long-term value instead of maximizing short-term profit at other stakeholder expense. Advocates argue that Advocates argue that serving all stakeholders is both ethically sound and strategically wise for business success. Key point to note in stakeholder capitalism is that it requires cooperation to consider all stakeholders, not just shareholders. Stakeholder encompasses investors, owners, employees, vendors, customers, and general public. The focus shifts to long-term value creation instead of merely enhancing shareholder value. Historically, this broader stakeholders consideration was standard practice in the US until Milton Friedman urged that argued that executives should prioritize shareholders. Modern supporters believe this comprehensive approach should replace shareholder primacy. Dividing the players, shareholders and stakeholders. Shareholders own a company's equity, while stakeholders include anyone with an interest in the company's. Shareholders, creditors, they include shareholders, creditors, employees, customers, local communities, and government. Challenges of stakeholder capitalism. While stakeholder capitalism may seem appealing, it presents challenges. This method of balancing different stakeholders' interests is rarely clearly defined. Decision making often becomes political rather than market driven. Conflicting goals from various stakeholders can impair companies' performance. This approach sometimes reflects a simplistic view of company stakeholder relationships. Most shareholders aren't demanding that management exploit stakeholders for quick profit. They neutrally consider stakeholder interests while focusing on creating shareholder value. Creating a long-term shareholder value typically requires consideration of customer satisfaction, positive government and regulatory relationships, and strong employee relations. Shareholders generally want profits that are both substantial and sustainable to maximize value. What is shareholder primacy? Shareholder primacy is a corporate governance philosophy that prioritizes maximizing shareholder value as the primary goal of company's management. This approach often places shareholders' interests above those of other stakeholders, such as the employees, the customers, the communities, and society at large. Key feature of shareholder primacy is focus on shareholder value, prioritization of shareholders, legal and market context. The focus on shareholder value. The central idea is that corporate decisions should aim to increase the value of company shares, ensuring maximum returns for shareholders. Prioritization of shareholders. While other stakeholders may be considered, their interests are secondary to those of shareholders under this model. Legal and market context. Although US cooperative law does not typically mandate shareholder primacy, market forces and business practice often reinforce this norm. Key stakeholders of stakeholder capitalism. Business have responsibility to various groups, including the employees. Employees ensure they are ensure fair compensation, provide training and development opportunities, and promote diversity and inclusion. Customers focus on delivering value and addressing their needs effectively. Communities respect the environment and embrace social responsibility initiatives. Shareholder, while their interests remain significant, they are balanced with those of other shareholders. Examples of shareholder capitalism are the Starbucks, the Patagonia, and the Lego. Benefit of shareholder capitalism: we have the long-term sustainability. Considering all stakeholders helps build resilient business capable of thriving over time. Enhance reputation and trust. Demonstrating social responsibility strengthens a company's reputation and fosters trust stakeholders among stakeholders. Increasing innovation, engage diverse stakeholders, provide valuable insight that drive creativity and growth. Criticism of stakeholder capitalism: we have conflict of interest with balancing differing the stakeholders' priorities can lead to challenges and compromises. Measurement challenge: evaluating the impact of all stakeholders can be complex and subjective. Perception as a PR strategy. Critics argue that some companies may adopt stakeholder capitalism superficially to improve their image without meaningful change. Shareholder primacy: the principle that a company's primary obligation is to maximize shareholder value presents both advantages and disadvantages. While it can drive investment and economic efficiency, critics highlight risks such as short-termism, inequality and neglect of other stakeholders. Benefit of shareholder primacy: enhance investment, economic efficiency, accountability. Shareholders can hold management accountable for decisions, improving corporate improving corporate governance and reducing management risks. Examples of shareholder primacy is mergers and acquisition, cost-cutting measures, and executive compensation. Tying executive pay to shock the performance can incentivize decision favouring short-term shareholders gains over suitable strategies. Criticism: while focus on short-term gains exacerbated inequalities, neglect of other stakeholders, risk aversion and dividend prioritization. Focus on short-term gains, that emphasis on maximizing shareholder value, may lead to prioritizing immediate profit over long-term sustainability and innovation. Exacerbated inequality: concentrating profit among shareholders can widen income disparities, benefiting wealthy investors disproportionately. Divine dividend prioritization: firms may prioritize pay dividend to shareholders rather than reinvesting in business development or research initiatives. Comparison: we have the aspects defining shareholders and the shareholder primacy and stakeholder capitalism. Primary focus of all stakeholders. For shareholder primacy, we have maximizing shareholder value, while for stakeholder capitalism, balancing interest of all stakeholders. In terms of decision-making priorities, shareholders take precedence in shareholder primacy, while for stakeholder capitalism, equal consideration for employees and customers. While in terms of criticism, short-termism and neglect of other stakeholders in shareholder primacy, while in stakeholder capitalism, complexity in balancing competing interests. Thank you for listening.